Laura is the feminine form of the Latin laurus, meaning laurel, which was the name of the laurel tree that Romans favored. Laurel leaves were used to make garland wreaths, which were awarded to victors of competitions and sporting events. For this reason, the meaning of the name is often said to be victor. It's an interesting correlation. In the most successful ending of Silent Hill 2, James leaves with Laura, whose name is associated with victory. In all the other endings, she's never seen again. The origins of her name is a book, No Language But a Cry, by Richard D'Ambrosio, the record of the true story of his work to help a little girl named Laura, who was horribly abused by her mother. At the time of the story, she's institutionalized and living with nuns. Laura in Silent Hill 2 was being taken care of by nuns as well. Mary's note to Laura tells her not to be too hard on the sisters, referring to the nurses caring for them. This connection might be a possible hint to Laura's past, which we never learned about. Laura is an orphan. The details of how her parents died is never revealed, and the subject isn't touched upon in-game. But it's likely that this loss is why Laura becomes heavily attached to Mary when they meet in the hospital, so much so that she goes to Silent Hill looking for her. Laura comes to town with Eddie's help, who she apparently met by chance on the road, according to the Book of Lost Memories. In Silent Hill 2, Laura represents innocence. She doesn't see the dark side of Silent Hill, the monsters, the fog. She's just a kid and doesn't carry the pain and guilt our protagonists do. When we see her, she's often surrounded by other signs of innocence. The scene on the wall shows childish drawings and sketches on the bricks below Laura. In the hospital, we find the girl playing with teddy bears. In the hotel, she starts drawing on the windows. It emphasizes how naive and innocent the girl is. She is only seen with characters who are good or innocent, at least in appearance. Early in the game, James only sees her from afar. They are cut off from each other by barriers, bars, and walls. She runs from him, our first sign that he's not an innocent victim in this scenario. Early on, she also appears with Eddie, but after the scene in the bowling alley, they're never seen together again. At this point, Eddie appears to be innocent. He vomits at the sight of violence and hasn't behaved violently towards us yet. That changes when we meet him next, which is why he never sees Laura again. Angela never meets Laura. She is absolutely convinced of her own guilt, and so the symbol of innocence never comes near her. Maria is never seen with her either, because Maria isn't real, but also because she isn't innocent. She's hiding something from James, and being absent whenever Laura is around is another clue that something is wrong with her. But interestingly, she does see Laura. It just seems that Laura doesn't see her. When James finally remembers the truth of what happened, Laura appears to judge him at that moment. She expresses the anger and disbelief of the player that this person we believed was our protagonist, our hero, isn't who we thought he was. Only if he's forgiven by Mary and makes amends will Laura return. She's a very childish figure, which makes sense given her age and her belief that James is a bad person. With no adult figures she respects around to discipline her, she runs wild doing what she wants. Which, well, why is she alone? The story says that Laura met Mary in the hospital. Mary would have been in a specific ward of the hospital, being someone diagnosed with terminal illness, living in the hospital for a long time. If Laura shared a room with her, that would mean she too had something similar, yet she doesn't seem ill when we meet her. She has none of the signs or symptoms that Mary did. She appears healthy. And yet, a week ago, Laura was in the hospital with Mary. She left to find her, but how did she leave? Was she checked out? Why did no adults stop her? And why is Laura here? And where does she go after Silent Hill? In the endings besides leave, no explanation is given for where Laura goes. She vanishes. There's also no explanation for how she arrives anywhere in town, She doesn't see any of the magic or strange aspects of town that we do. She sees a normal place. Yet she follows James from the apartments to the hospital to the hotel that's across the lake, miles away from the first portion of town, without going through the prison. How does she do it? Is Laura real? Much like Maria, Laura often appears out of nowhere and vanishes just as quickly. She doesn't appear around all the members of the cast. Just as Maria doesn't appear before anyone but James, Laura will often only show up when James is alone. She inexplicably has a letter from Mary, but how did she get it? She claims she took it from a nurse's locker, and near the end of the game it disappears from her pocket. Was it ever really there? Or was it imaginary like James's letter was? In the Leave ending, Mary hands James a letter from her sickbed. Is it the same letter? The strange, ephemeral nature of the letter reflects back on Laura, this one piece of unreality from the town that's associated with her. From the start, Laura does not like James, but how did Laura know who James was? She would know of him if Mary talked about him, but James didn't recognize Laura, a little girl who supposedly was in the same hospital room as his wife, who he visited at least once, likely more. They never met. At one point, Laura says Mary showed her all her pictures of Silent Hill, so it's possible that she recognized him from a photo. But still, it's an interesting coincidence that both Maria and Laura never have to be told James's name. There's a lot about Laura that doesn't make sense. She knew Mary, but that doesn't seem possible given her apparent health. She knows James by sight, a man she's never met. She travels through the town without any trouble, not just from monsters, but physical distance. Still, Mary remembers Laura. Even Maria does. So apparently Mary did know a Laura in the hospital. She was a real person. But is this the same Laura? Is she a memory, a recreation of this person Mary knew? Is she possibly a manifestation like Maria? There are a lot of oddities about Laura that make this possible but not probable, until you consider some of the details in the game. The cast of Silent Hill 2 includes James Sunderland, Angela Orozco, Eddie Dombrowski, and Laura. Laura doesn't have a last name, even though multiple other characters do, despite the fact those full names are never said on screen. The only other character who doesn't have a specified last name is Maria. James, Angela, and Eddie have detailed backstories, only some of which we learn about in-game. But Laura has no such backstory, not even in supplemental materials. It's as if she didn't have a life before the game's events. This could all be coincidental, but in a game with such detailed craftsmanship, it stands out that so many details about Laura don't quite mesh, and that she doesn't receive a full name, and only one other character didn't. A person who isn't real.